Okay. So there's a story that Shedeur Sanders is really slipping in the draft, could go 21 to the Steelers. I will, by the way, in 45 minutes, 50 minutes, I will have my final mock draft. This is not what I would do. This is what I believe happens in the first round of the draft, first 15 picks. So 45 minutes from now, my prediction on what I think the first 15 picks will look like. So this is a very, very weak draft. So if Shedeur Sanders is falling in the draft, it's pretty obvious that Shedeur Sanders is not lighting the world up. There's also T-Mac, the receiver out of Arizona, I am told, is also falling in the draft for separate reasons. But here's my thing about Shedeur sliding to Pittsburgh. I would rather go to Pittsburgh at 21 than Cleveland or the Giants with a second or third pick. I really would. Ownership stability, roster composition, and a patient franchise. The Steelers have DK Metcalf. They'll trade the other receiver. They have a very good tight end. Arthur Smith, more than capable at OC. It's a very good roster. I'd rather go there. Dan Marino fell in the draft to Hall of Fame coach Don Shula. Do you realize that the Jets could have picked him with Joe Walton as a head coach earlier? Do you think he would have ended up having Dan Marino's career? Patrick Mahomes went 10th. That year, if he would have gone second, he would have gone to the Chicago Bears. Andy Reid was not coaching the Chicago Bears. You start looking at when Aaron Rodgers fell to Green Bay. You know where he could have gone? Mike Tice, Minnesota. Or Mike Nolan, who wore a suit on the sidelines for San Francisco. Would that have been better? So I think with the current NIL model, the fact that your dad's Deion Sanders, you're making 7 figures in college, play the long game. I would rather go down 10 draft picks, 12 draft picks to a better franchise. Dan Marino, Aaron Rodgers are the 2 legendary drops in the first round. I mean, ask yourself this. Jordan Love, the Packers moved up for Jordan Love. That worked out pretty well for him, didn't it? If you could go to the Green Bay Packers or 23 other teams in the NFL, who would you choose? So I think we talk about this. Where you land matters. Now, I have my issues with the Steelers. Mike Tomlin, defensive coach, defensive culture. If they have a bad year, I think they could. Mike Tomlin's not going to be around forever. And he'll get a TV job in a heartbeat. But with the NIL model and college kids coming out with some money in the bank and your dad's Deion Sanders, I would much rather go to a stable ownership group. All this short-term money, it doesn't matter as much anymore, at least for quarterbacks. I mean, at these top 20 football programs, everybody's getting money. Tight ends are getting money. Right tackles are getting money. Safeties are getting money in college football. So the advantage to that is not only short-term for the players being able to, afford a nice car or something, but you can take a deep breath and not be emotionally tied into knots if you drop. Because if he went to Cleveland or New York, Shedeur Sanders has to play immediately, and he is the savior. He's not the savior in Pittsburgh. That's not what he would be. He would be the starting quarterback. The franchise doesn't need saving. It needs improvement, but it doesn't need saving. Cleveland needs saving. The Giants need everything, including saving. So that's where we are today. Lance Zierlein was on yesterday, worked for NFL.com, covered the NFL for 20 years, talked about just this quarterback class, not very good compared to last year's.
From a comparison, it's terrible. It's not even close to last year's. Obviously, Shedeur's going to go in the first this year. He would have gone maybe in the second round last year, maybe even in the third round, because teams don't like drafting players in the second round. There's only been 6 quarterbacks drafted in the second round over the last 10 years. Wow. 35 first-rounders and 14 third-rounders. So it's like that's a line of demarcation. You're either a starter or you're a backup.
So the odds continue to suggest that Shedeur Sanders will slide down to 21 and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Again, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. The 2 most famous slides, Dan Marino and Aaron Rodgers, went to good coaches and stability. And now Shedeur comes out, dad's a legend, NIL money, so what? I mean, there are guys now in college staying in college for another year. We're seeing this. I mean, Carson Beck's like, I can get drafted in the 6th round, or I can go to Miami and make $10 million. So I think the NIL has changed it. It's so what you drop. What you don't want to do is go to a franchise that is a mess, and we all know about 8 to 10 of these franchises are a mess. All right, there's about 8 greatly well-run franchises, another 6 to 7 who are mostly, on a consistent basis, solid. Then there's 15 messes. J-Mac, I'm going to do in 45 minutes my mock draft.
Colin, wait. The Steelers are not a mess? A franchise that hasn't known offense for the last, 6 years.
That's not a mess.
The most expensive defense, or one of the most expensive defensive rosters in the league.
Yes.
Haven't won a playoff game in forever. They're not a mess?
No, they need adjustments. A mess has been the Titans. A mess before C.J. Stroud was the Texans.
Titans have more playoff wins in the last 5 years than the Steelers.
But the Steelers draft better roster composition, more stability in ownership, front office, coaching. Yeah, I mean, it's, again, Pittsburgh has underachieved relative to their division. I'm not denying that. But they do get to the playoffs. That's not a mess.
So that's the bar? Just get
well, no. You're not a mess if you're getting to the playoffs. Now, I mean, they win more. Think about this. They win more regularly than the Niners. Go look at even with Kyle Shanahan.
But the Niners
good year, bad year. Good year, bad year. Good year, bad year. The Rams win almost every year. The Steelers win almost every year. They do win every year.
In the regular season.
So my take is the Steelers aren't a mess. They're just not, again, relative to the top teams in the league, they are still too defensive-minded.
And I love this whole Shedeur narrative. Let's just remember, everybody, the league has no clue how to draft quarterbacks. Let's just get that out there first and foremost, okay? Trey Lance going second, Zach Wilson second, Patrick Mahomes sliding behind Mitch Trubisky. The league doesn't know what they're doing with quarterbacks. Shedeur may be good. He could be Drew Brees for all we know. He's accurate as hell.
Yeah, no, I think Shedeur is going to be a nice NFL quarterback. Yeah. I do. Good B-plus quarterback in the league. I do. I think he's more talented. I think he's absolutely more talented than Dak Prescott. I think he's more talented than Brock Purdy. Yeah. I think he's more talented than J.J. McCarthy, who everybody loved last year. I think he's more talented. So I think he's a talented kid. I don't think he's a star, and I don't think he's an A prospect.
He's got some growing up to do, but is Kyler Murray a star? He's got growing up to do. He hasn't won anything. I don't know if Kyler Murray's that good.
I think if you ask most GMs today, Kyler Murray, all things considered, including his contract or Shedeur, you'd take Shedeur.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, that's part of it. So, I How
about this? Can Shedeur be a top 15 quarterback in the NFL?
Yes. With the right landing spot, yes. I believe so.
Top 10?
Probably not.
There were moments where Kirk Cousins was a top 10 quarterback in the league. Fringe top 10, but top 10.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott, mid-round quarterback. He was a top 10 guy.
Yeah, again, when he had the right components to the roster, yes.
Definitely.
I think if Shedeur goes to the right place, I mean, the Steelers, star receiver, really good tight end. They lost their left tackle, Najee Harris, but it's a great running back draft, so they're drafting another running back.
Which star receiver are we talking about? The one who unfollowed the Steelers on Instagram this week? Oh, Pickens, it never stopped.